Good morning and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff Show. Today we're going to be talking about comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, August 3rd. It's crazy that we're already in August, but there are some incredible books to be talking about on Final Order Cutoff, including one whose unbelievable writer we will have as the guest, and we have a few extra special guests on today's show. You're not going to want to miss out. Stay tuned because there is so much you want to reach out to your comic shop and order this week. Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. All right, and this week we're talking about books that are on Final Order Cutoff Monday, August 3rd. Some great books to talk about this week, and I have a wonderful person to talk with me about them. Well, Kyle is out. I have my beloved producer, Jay, online with me as well.
Oh, thanks, Mathias. Always a good time, boss.
Always a pleasure having you on here. And you're not going to be alone. It sounds like we might have a few additional co-hosts that'll be popping in later in the show to help give us some commentary and talk about their favorite things on FOC this week. And a brilliant guest who is not only a very talented writer, but a superstar artist and has a hot TV series currently playing on FX based on one of his comics. So I am excited about this week's show. I don't know about you.
Yes, I definitely need to check out that show. I also need to go back to the original series and read that as well. And then I want to pick up this new one. The thing looks interesting. I mean, a hot people STD. I mean, come on.
Yes, indeed. Oh, the beauty. It's great. But we'll be talking about the Beauty and many other new projects from Jeremy Haun a little bit later when he joins us. Right now, I want to talk about how you can see everything that is on Final Order Cutoff week after week. And to do that, I'm going to have Jay bring my screen up so I can show you all the 2 key websites where you'll see everything that you can reach out to your local comic shop and place orders with. Now, if you are a fan of Marvel, Oni, Dark Horse, Ignition Press, Distillery, Boom Studios, Kodansha, 7C, Square Enix, and so much more, IDW even, you want to go to Penguin Random House's main website, prhcomics.com. That website will give you access to one of the largest book distributors in the world and the home of many of those incredible publishing companies that I had mentioned. PRHcomics.com will bring you to this website that you can see right here. And as you can see, right at the top of the page, they know what's up. FOC is the first thing they link to. You can see FOC for August 3rd. Clicking that will bring you over to this section of the website with a full list of everything those publishers have to offer. We always recommend sorting A to Z. You'll even see that on occasion they have publishers that are beyond the normal, like you can get a hint of DC there. Now, that's because Penguin Random House, being such a large distribution service, it offers book distribution for publishers it doesn't carry floppy traditional comics for. But you're not going to find your new issues of Absolute Batman or your amazing issues of Superman Unlimited on this page, just the trade paperbacks. So, while this is incredibly useful for many publishers, if you're a fan of DC, of Image Comics, Dynamite, and a lot of smaller indie publishers, there are a number of distributors available, but the one that has the best FOC website and the vast majority of comic shops throughout North America use, that would be lunardistribution.com. Typing in lunardistribution.com will bring you to this wonderful website you see right here. And you'll have to scroll down a small bit to get to their upcoming Final Order Cutoff, but it is right there. Upcoming FOC that will get you to where you need to be. And normally there's a lot of images right here. In the case of this week, there's a lot waiting for graphics. But we'll explain all of that and show you how you can see those in a little bit. Those are the key bits. You're going to want to use prhcomics.com and lunardistribution.com to see everything on FOC this week. And that way you can reach out to your local comic shop with a full list of what you would like to order. Now, all that said, we're going to highlight some of the big new drops, the new number ones, the start of storylines, the hot covers, and other amazing things you're definitely going to want to pay attention to over the next 2 hours of this show, as well as have a great interview with the incomparable Jeremy Haun and others. So, shall we dive into it, Jay?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Let's start it off at prhcomics.com. Penguin Random House always doing great. And as I mentioned, you get to see those trade paperbacks and hardcovers from DC right there. But we're going to hold off and talk about those when they pop up on Lunar Distribution. So let's scroll on down a little bit through some amazing things that are coming. And the one I want to point out first is an art book. The Art of Gravity Falls. This is a beloved Disney cartoon that I'm not even going to say years, decades after it has completed, is still one of the most talked about and well-respected modern cartoons for kids and adults. The exciting thing is, after a recent novel that takes place in more present time for the characters, we're getting this incredible art book that is far from just artwork from our favorite TV series. This includes the original production Bible, pilot development notes, scrapped characters we never got to see in the cartoon, all sorts of behind-the-scenes concepts, photographs, script pieces, and more, episode-by-episode breakdown of all of the seasons of Gravity Falls and more. As a huge Gravity Falls fan, I cannot wait to dive into this. I'm a guy who now and then will grab an art book for things, but rarely do I ever actually crack them open more than once. This feels like it's going to be the textbook I study like it was for my doctorate thesis. I don't know about you, Jay. Did you ever watch Gravity Falls?
Look, man, I'm so far behind on Look, I just finished The Penguin. I just jumped on the Ted Lasso train. Okay. I know about this show. I've never watched it, but just hearing the excitement from a fan, I'm really happy that fans are getting something like this. I love when shows and comics and stuff do like these deep dive things, like having the production Bible as part of it. That's got to be amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, for those who are not familiar with the production Bible, I remember the very first time I got to handle one was when I was working with Stan Sakai. I got a production Bible for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon from 1989. And just seeing all of the details as they described each character, their personality, and details you would never actually see in the show but existed to make it so the voice actors, the directors, the television show writers knew who these characters were and how to apply them in the stories. Not to mention all these details about backgrounds and future episodes, concepts that never may have came to fruition. Those are really cool details as a fan to have, and I cannot wait to handle this with Gravity Falls. But if you want something a little less intense and you're a fan of classic cartoons, with Paramount Plus now streaming the brand new Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, I am all for a return to anything Avatar. And to get new fans into it, Little Golden Books has put together a slipcase edition of 5 Little Golden Books featuring Avatar Aang and his friends. So, that's more books than the TV series ever got. I think this is a cool way that families can share their love of The Last Airbender with new young readers, or perhaps, let's just be honest, enjoy a little bit of childlike reading and artwork in these beautiful books. Because I think everybody, at least in America, if not worldwide in most English-speaking countries with access to Little Golden Books, because I can say I even had access to these in another country growing up. Little Golden Books are iconic. But when Little Golden Books now touch onto your favorite, extra media or celebrity, cartoons, live action movies, video games, comics, and more, I always think it's a treat. I feel that there's not a person who is watching this who didn't have a Little Golden Book at some point in their life. Jay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And what I love about folks doing stuff like this nowadays, I'm not a prude person by any means. I love my horror comics. I love my gore. I love my bad language. I love my naughty scenes. But we're not going to be able to bring new, younger readers into comics with that kind of stuff. So having something like this to kind of usher in the next generation of readers, because folks, we need those children to start reading comics, because, spoiler alert, we don't get out of this life alive, and there's going to have to be a new generation to keep comics alive. So something like this is fantastic.
I love it. Very valid. So really cool little way to get. And if for any reason you just want one, maybe you're just a fan of Aang or Katara, you can always use PRH's search function to search for other Little Golden Books, including Avatar Little Golden Books, and reach out to your local comic shop to see if they'll order them individually and directly for you. But I'm always the fan of a slipcase. Moving on and spinning out of Avengers Armageddon, 2 of my favorite villains and one of my favorite heroes unite once again like it is a 1970s Villains United giant size. Black Panther and Namor are doomed. What does that mean? Well, 2, I would love to say unlikely allies, but really, let's face it, 2 absolute rivals must team up when both of their kingdoms are attacked by demons from hell. Pursuing this all the way into the bowels of hell, they find the deceased Dr. Doom at the core of this. It is Namor and Black Panther against Dr. Doom. And now I can say unlikely allies. I am beyond excited of this. You have the powerhouse team of Ethan S. Parker and Griffin Sheridan, who I had the pleasure of meeting during Comic-Con last week. Not doing Godzilla, not doing Hello Darkness, not doing Supergirl Survive, but taking on some of the most iconic rulers of the Marvel Universe. The King of Atlantis, the King of Wakanda, and the King of Latveria. This is going to be awesome. Preparing for those winter holidays, Christmas time is getting closer. Not so close that I'd recommend putting out any, like tinsel or trees. But if you want to start thinking in advance of how to prepare for your December, and you would like to enjoy the pleasure of an advent calendar, Tokyo Pop is offering some very keen ones through PRH this week. One I have to spotlight is Bleach: The 1,000-Year Blood War. I am a longtime fan of Tite Kubo and Bleach, whether you love the manga or the anime, whether you're discovering it recently with the 1,000-Year Blood War, or you've been reading and watching it since the early 2000s. This is a fun way to get some really cool treats. This is going to be a traditional Advent calendar with 24 days counting down from the start of December up till Christmas, or whatever 24-day count you really want to do. I know people like me might just go crazy and crack all 24 on the second they open this package in September, because it's going to be filled with Bleach-related treats. They say everything from Post-it notes and pens, mini booklets, coasters, buttons, etc. So they're all going to be kind of Chotsky-esque, items, but with your favorite Bleach content on there. And that's not the only one that Tokyo Pop is bringing us, as we also have a Blue Lock Advent calendar, an Attack on Titan Advent calendar, and more. And I mean, I'll never say no to more Blue Lock. Out of curiosity, Jay, do you ever do any of the Advent calendars?
I think we did like a Harry Potter Pocket Pop one time. I'm just amazed. I'm sitting here thinking, man, it's kind of early to be doing this. And then I'm looking and I'm like, we're already almost halfway through the year already. That is insane. That is crazy how fast time is going, man.
It is. Yeah, a lot of the books that we're going to be talking about today are actually releasing in September is the crazy part. So with this one dropping on the last week of September 29th, it means it'll be in stores for October and November Christmas shopping. Because think about it, with an Advent calendar, this isn't something realistically to put under the Christmas tree or to gift out during Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. This is something you want to start on day 1 of December, assuming that's the way you're going. I mean, again, I'm probably just going to be spending October 1st punching holes and pulling out toys, but got to think ahead on this.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a bad time at all, man.
Yeah. All right. So we don't have Kyle this week, but I have to hold on to the thing he brought to the show, the pros pick of the week. And my pros pick of the week is going to be an interesting one for all ages that has a beautiful new binding. Part of the Disney Twisted Tales series. This is a what if you will, for Disney's Frozen. The title is Conceal, Don't Feel. And for those of you Frozen fans or parents of Disney kids, you unquestionably know where that lyric came from in the title, from the epic Frozen film series. And this book tells you, what if Anna and Elsa never knew each other? An interesting twist on Frozen because, well, much of the beginning of Frozen dealt with Elsa and Anna not being together. It was Anna in pursuit of her sister who hid away. Now we get the question of what if Elsa had always hidden away and never had her beloved sister at her side. Beautiful concept. Well, not a beautiful concept, a haunting concept, realistically, but for a beautiful book by Jen Kalanita. This is always fun. I mean, look, we all love our Marvel what ifs, from the animated series to the classic comics, but taking that to the Disney realm has just been impressive book after book. And with this new trade paperback for this book, it gives you a new opportunity to pick it up, an easier copy to, throw in your bag and bring with you, and beautiful sprayed edges with that nice Arendelle-esque forestry and snowflakes. So, fun way if you're looking for more than just sequential art, you need a little bit of prose in your life.
Yeah, my wife is a huge fan of the books that do those sprayed edges, and a lot of them look really just gorgeous.
Absolutely. So hopefully if you're a Disney fan and you're not already reading the Twisted Tales, this will be your discovery to them. All right. What if I told you there's a comic coming out in September with Mike Mignola interior artwork, Jay?
Oh, give it to me now?
Now, before I get you too excited, here's the sad reality. It's not new Mignola artwork, but it's a reprint of the classic Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, Triumph and Torment, one of the classic Marvel graphic novels from the 1980s. that tells the tale of Doctor Doom teaming up against his will with Doctor Strange to actually make a deal with Mephisto over the Latvian ruler's lost mother. Now, this is going to be done as it was originally in one binding. We're getting it in a traditional comic format, not a prestige plus or oversized magazine. So anybody who likes that normal format of comics, you can now own this classic that is kind of fitting in an era where we're all focused on Doom, with Avengers Doomsday coming out this winter. And to top it off, brand new Peach Momoko cover, as you can see on screen. But if you want that classic feel, there is the Mignola cover from the 1980s available.
Doom is kind of becoming Wolverine of today, but I don't mind it at all.
I'm not complaining. Actually, I tell you, maybe I am about to complain. I wish that he was actively alive to be in all the books that he's currently in, but Marvel seems to love doing this thing that whenever there's a film, we kill off, the character in the film. I don't know. Doctor Strange gets a movie. We have the death of Doctor Strange. Silver Surfer has a movie. We put a new Silver Surfer in the universe. It seems like somebody at Marvel Publishing just wants to take a shiv at Marvel Cinematic Universe, except it's the same person with Kevin. So I don't know what causes that. But I do like that Disney films tend to work together with the Marvel comics, as we get yet another theme month. For the 40th anniversary of Pixar, we are getting a theme of Pixar variants. I love this beautiful Monsters, Inc. cover on Fantastic Four 16. So I had to show it off. In ways you'd never expect, Greg Land doing Monsters, Inc. Not where I thought we'd go. But beautiful one, so I got to show that off. There are more Pixar covers across the Marvel line, so feel free to type in Pixar 40th on that Penguin Random House search to see them all. Then IDW Horror launches a brand new series that, especially coming out of Comic-Con, sounds particularly intriguing. Amy Chase and Savannah Mayer are bringing us a new horror series that deals with a young girl and her obsession with a vampire book and film series. When she wins the chance to go to the setting of her favorite books and film series, Mallard House, the home of a haunting vampire tale that has started in prose and moved on to film and television, she jumps on it. As fans go to celebrate the anniversary of this beloved franchise, all seems like it couldn't be better. I mean, it's a gathering of geeks and nerds like Comic-Con or Anime Expo or maybe one of the Twilight events. But there's a twist. Just before the event starts, one of the young fans is murdered brutally. And the police and community try their best to sweep it under the table because they don't want to ruin this event. I mean, the community of this beloved vampire series are all family, right? Like so many of ours. However, as this book dives in, it tells a tale of true crime meeting the toxicity of fandom. And our protagonist's adventures become much more like the story she reads than the fan gathering she expected. Everything about this has me hyped because as somebody who attends so many fan events, conventions and the like, as somebody who's a part of so many fandoms that I love and adore and make my life around, I also understand the toxicity of fans and celebrities and some of the situations that our beloved creations create. So about time we had a dark horror, and IDW Crime's been kind of knocking it out of the park. So I'm most curious to see how this lands. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that one, Jay?
You have me very intrigued by that description there, and nothing ruins a fandom like the fans.
Yes.
Yeah. That seems great though. That's almost a kind of half autobiographical kind of thing.
Absolutely. Like I am beyond excited about this. Like everything from the exorcism books by Hannah Rose May, the Smile books, like all of these have just been hitting hard. Sleepy Hollow, you name it. The IDW horror and IDW crime lines are masterfully curated. And this one definitely hits the spot close to home where I really want to check it out. So some great covers available. This one drops on September 9th, FOCing this Monday, so give it a look. Now, alphabetically, the next one to talk about would be an incredible new book by Jeremy Haun, The Folk of Dooney Hollow. But we're going to hold off on this and come back around because we'll be having the author joining us shortly. So meanwhile, we're going to talk about a new Oni book. And this is my chance to remind everyone, for those of you guys who got used to watching this show and knowing that Oni was at Lunar Distribution, Oni recently made the hop across the distribution pond to Penguin Random House. And now we are seeing all of their amazing offerings through PRH. You can still find classic trade paperbacks and older inventory at Lunar Distribution if you're a ordering specialist or comic shop owner, or if you're reaching out and your staff at your LCS don't know where to find it. But all modern things and the whole entire inventory going forward will start finding its home at Penguin Random House. And since we're talking about homes, I feel it's time we talk about Forever Home by Christian Ward. Now, I've had the honor of reading a preview of Forever Home and talking with Christian Ward about it. I even got a signed copy, I'm actually happy to say. But Forever Home is a chilling adventure. And while many of you think of Christian Ward as a brilliantly talented artist, because he is also a haunting writer, well proven on his IDW series, Event Horizon. Now we get to see Christian continue that horror writing in a new universe of his creation. The Forever Home tells of a family with a little bit of wealth that develops a home that will allow him to quite literally change the world. A home where time is slowed to 1 year in the outside world being just 20 minutes in the home. It is filled with a robotic array of butlers, maids, and assistants that should keep everything safe as he can basically live a near immortal life with his family and manipulate the world that is dying outside. However, as time goes on, you can imagine the world outside is not getting any better. And when some kind of error breaches the time bubble of this house, the haunting things from outside decide they want to get in. Forever Home brings us that concept of what would happen if we jumped centuries into the future in this already nearing dystopian lifetime. And what haunting things can we not keep out? I'm really excited to give this a full read when the issue releases September 9th. We're going to have a pile of amazing horror starting off September. So Halloween will come early. I don't doubt it. And Christian Ward, Sammy Cavella, this is an exciting one.
Publishers, if you want somebody that can push your book, get a hold of Mathias. Because so far I'm writing these down because I'm like, okay, Mathias just made that sound amazing. The only thing I can say about Oni Press is I'm kind of waiting for them to start putting Torma's phone number up there with the description of everything.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I was talking with Torma, who is their wonderful head of sales over at Oni Press yesterday, and I got a package from him. He has his own new shipping label with his face on it, and it's a hand-drawn face, but you see that shipping label. I got a package, and I instantly went, that's from Torma. So, yes, he is an icon that, in my opinion, is becoming the mascot, whether he or they like it or not, of Oni. And as many of you longtime watchers know, every time he comes on, zero hesitance in sharing his phone number. That man loves to talk comics. So If you know the number or go back and track a previous episode, shoot Torma a text and tell him not only that you love watching Final Order Cutoff, but you love Oni and want to hear what his recommendations are, because that man can sell books in ways that makes me look pathetic. All right, let's move away. We've had a lot of horror. We've had some haunting and horrific books I've been promoting. Let's talk about another little golden book. And that's a weird one, that the theme of today seems to be horror and children's all ages little golden books. But this one deserves a bit of a spotlight, because not only is it a delightfully positive book about trying to be a hero and starring the iconic Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, almost a hero, has something really special about it, because this is one of the rare little golden books that is written by the comic character's creator. Paul Dini of Batman the Animated Series, co-creator of Harley Quinn, is actually writing this little golden book, Harley Quinn, Almost a Hero, and brings on famed Disney and My Little Pony artists and renowned comic artist Amy Meberson to do the interior artwork. If this was a comic, I would be drooling over it already, because this is such a perfect team. Paul Dini and Amy Meberson on Harley Quinn is everything any Harley Quinn fan should want. And the fact that it's a little golden book is mind-blowing, but also incredibly exciting. So that is $7 my local comic shop can guarantee it has for me, no questions asked. And it is something I will be pushing to any Harley Quinn fan out there, or somebody who wants to make a future Harley Quinn fan. Unfortunately, the all ages can't last. And we're back to horror. More of it with another iconic film. Boom Studios has been bringing us Hellraiser week after week on FOC, because we're going to be getting it week after week this fall. And finally, it's not a facsimile. For the first time in years, I want to say in a decade almost, we are going to have brand new Hellraiser comics. And this is just the start, with 5 consecutive one-shots by different top talent in the comic industry, dealing with different iconic Cenobites. Our first one is going to be Hellraiser Resurrections, the Onanistic Ritual. And this one is hauntingly modern, as we're dealing with I can never remember the name of this toxic trait of beating yourself up into, different aesthetics. It is a looks maxing influencer. Looks maxing. Things I just wish I didn't have to say on streams. But our protagonist, or antagonist arguably, is a looks maxing influencer who discovers the haunting video that is the origin of the Cenobite known as the Chatterer. And now, as he tries to summon the Chatterer for vengeance, many of you Hellraiser fans know the Cenobites don't like to be used so much as they like to use. The Chatterer wants to redefine his position as the right hand in hell. So, a new one-shot, done in one, but part of the continuing Hellraiser Resurrection one-shots that will deal with each Cenobite. We had Teenie Howard on a few weeks ago talking about her incredible one, and we will be likely talking about new Hellraiser Cenobite one-shots each week this month as we prepare for these releases coming in September. And where all of these Hellraiser one-shots will lead to, that's quite the question to ask. You'll have to read them to find out. Whew, I feel creepy. We've been doing a lot of really creepy things here, Jay. I think we need a little bit of a break. Can we get at least one book that isn't horror?
Yeah, why don't we try that? Because Hellraiser, despite what you feel about the entirety of the film series, there are some fantastic movies in there. The comics have always been solid.
Yeah. All right, let's do something a little lighter. Did you know we are coming up on the 25th anniversary of the Marvel Mangaverse?
No. 20. Wow.
Yeah. Now, the insane part of that is being 25 years since its introduction. Many watchers might not even remember the Marvel Mangaverse. But it was an incredible period where we brought all sorts of interesting manga versions of Marvel characters to life, led by creators like Ben Dunn of Antarctic Press and Ninja High School, and others with Japanese influence or fandom in their blood. We got to see very unique takes of an almost over-the-top speed racer era of manga style with Marvel characters. But now we actually have some real manga blood in this. Not to mention some true blood in the writers. Father and son team Joe Kelly and Jack Kelly come together to bring us that 25th anniversary of the Marvel Mangaverse with Web of Blood. We have incredible interior artwork by Kenny Ruiz. We have that beautiful cover by Peach Momoko and another amazing cover that is going to be by Yuji Kaku. And we get to see manga versions of Laura Kinney, of Magic, and of Miles Morales. So this is going to be a fun modern take. So if you're a manga fan or anime fan, this might be the Marvel book to really tease you and drive you in. Or if you know somebody who's a manga fan and you've been trying so hard to get them into Western sequential art and comics, maybe this will help guide them a little bit further. And yet the darkness of horror tilts back in, even within the Marvel Universe. We're getting ready for the haunting horror tales of fall, and Marvel Zombies is back with Marvel Zombies Warzone. Longtime editor and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles writer Tom Waltz, the same Tom Waltz who helped bring us Last Ronin, teams up with Jaime Infante to tell us the tale of zombies invading New York and the one man that can stop them, the one-man army that is Frank Castle. I didn't know that I needed to return to the Marvel Zombies universe. I was getting a little bit tired of my favorite Marvel characters getting zombified and doing the whole zombie thing time and time again. But man, I really want to see the Punisher just going around on a zombie shooting escapade. Look, anyone who makes video games and has a Marvel license, forget Call of Duty. I don't need Resident Evil. I want Punisher killing Marvel zombies. This sounds ridiculously awesome.
Yep. I'm sold, and I'm the same way. I love the original Marvel Zombies, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it does feel like they go to the well a little too often. But if you're telling me it's Castle fighting zombies, I'm all over it. I am all over it. This kind of reminds me, it's probably not exactly the same, but there's a little self-contained story called Punisher kills Punisher versus the Marvel Universe, or one of those where it kind of has that Marvel Zombies feel, but not exactly Marvel Zombies. It's like some weird rage virus. Yeah. I want to say it's Punisher versus, or the Marvel Universe versus Punisher. It's one of those titles. Very reminiscent, but I just want to, now I just want a whole game of just Frank Castle just capping zombies. That's exactly what I want. Didn't know I needed it, but now I do.
Yeah, I got to give credit to Waltz. Like, this is a brilliant concept. Like, it is hard, I mean, Jay and I were talking before the show. We're both huge fans of Robert Kirkman, and Robert did such a great job with the creation of Marvel Zombies initially. And I don't want to belittle any of the writers or artists that followed on Marvel Zombies, but just like the actual zombie genre itself, it can get a little stale, much like the decaying bodies that fill the stories. This is the Evil Dead revival the 28 days later excitement that I needed for this genre of Marvel comics. So I'm in.
Just to let you know that decaying bodies in the stories comment did not go unnoticed by me. That was fantastic.
Thank you. All right, man, we are blazing through Penguin Random House, but some great things. Like, I am so excited about FOC this Monday. I really hope everyone's going to have a long list for their local comic shop. I'm certain people like Jay are going to hate me for it because they know how that's going to affect their wallets. But I like to view it as this way. Think about how charitable that is to your wonderful local comic shop by giving them this list and these awesome sales.
It's respect peppered with a little bit of hatred. Respect, but peppered with a little hatred.
There it is. All right. Two creators I have been waiting to team up again for ages. Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta shook us to our core when they did the sleeper hit that was Vision, or the Visions at Marvel. A book that, when it initially came out, I had zero interest in and have absolutely fallen in love with. Created some wonderful characters like Viv Vision. This powerhouse team knows how to create a great comic. And Tom's been doing it for, I can actually say, over a decade now, taking characters that you might not remember, that you may not love, and making them iconic. And now Tom and Walta have teamed up once again, not to drag out an iconic character from Marvel or DC, but to revive a tropic concept of 90s sitcom stars. In the vein of Seinfeld, Friends, and others, the six of us takes six iconic 90s sitcom stars and brings them to the modern day when there is now only 5, as one of these stars has died a mysterious death. All of the drama and headlines you can imagine that would often come about stars of Frasier and the like brought into comic form. It is dark, it is haunting, but it is also comedic. This is something I would have not expected as a pitch for a comic. As a TV show, like an HBO series, you'd have had me. As a comic, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I'm excited for it. I am really curious what Tom is going to do, because I don't know that Tom has ever had a comic solicitation where I've thought, oh my God, that sounds great. Every one of those solicitations is, wow, he's going to try and do that, eh? He thinks that's going to sell. And every time he's thought right, from Strange Adventures to the marriage that wasn't a marriage of Batman and Catwoman, tales like Visions and Human Target and so many more have absolutely impressed me, because they were concepts that I didn't think had any right to sell as well as they did on stands, and they sold incredibly, won countless awards and nominations, all for a reason. And that is because Tom is a brilliant writer, and with the incredible Gabriel Walta, I am certain this will be an Eisner nominee and a unbelievably talked about comic over the next year. Whew. So much going through this. All right. Let's talk about another iconic Marvel character. Spider-Woman has just hit the big 50. It's crazy to think she is still looking that good at 50. But with the 50th anniversary of Spider-Woman, we get the return of the awesome Ann Nocenti, along with Dan Watters, for a classic Spider-Woman tale and a futuristic Spider-Woman tale. Artwork across the board, a ton of iconic covers. It is the return of Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, big celebration.
Wondering when we're finally going to get her in the movies.
You know, that's a good one. I mean, Who knows? Well, I guess we do have the new Spider-Man movie out this weekend in theaters. I guess I'll have to go check it out and see if Jessica Drew makes an appearance.
Just saying, there's going to be another trilogy, folks. I mean,
could be. I mean, and meanwhile, at some point, we're supposed to get that third animated Spider-Verse.
You're not wrong.
All right, Star Trek fans of Strange New Worlds. Look, we're on the final season, and that hurts me. But something I am filled with love of is this combination trio, as we're going to get a new Star Trek Deviations series that combines Strange New Worlds with one of my favorite Star Wars authors, Claudia Gray, who did all those awesome Princess Leia books and the High Republic series. And then we're going to throw in a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe. Star Trek Deviations, Evermore, brings all of the classic Edgar Allan Poe stories in combinations with our cast from Strange New Worlds in a mini-series of epic proportions that enter some kind of Star Trek reference here that is not just coming to mind. But fun idea. Just, I can't believe it. I can't wait. Claudia Gray, such a magnificent writer. Everything from, being an X-Files fan fiction author to doing iconic Star Wars books, doing classic tales in a Pride and Prejudice sense. And now we are going to get her take on one of the greatest sci-fi series out there, meets one of the most iconic Gothic horror writers. This is going to be fun.
And now Mathias is going to have me looking at a Star Trek book.
Right? There it is. All right. Well, here's one I'm hoping you've already read, but we can bring to light for people who haven't taken in a classic piece of modern slice of life comics. Abstract Studios, the studios of Terry Moore, comes to Dark Horse, and with it, Dark Horse is now once again reprinting the infamous Strangers in Paradise with new hardcover omnibuy. Strangers in Paradise Omnibuy Volume 1 is a new $40 hardcover with over 23 issues. It's going to have the original Strangers in Paradise miniseries, the entire first volume of Strangers in Paradise, and the opening story arc of the ongoing Strangers in Paradise series. 23 awesome issues. Terry Moore's iconic masterpiece. I would argue his magnum opus, coming back to print in an awesome new format. Now, I have these as single issues. I have these as compact editions. I have these in so many forms, including traditional classic trade paperbacks. But this might be the edition that takes over all of them. A hardcover, thick omnibuy. I'm sold. And if you've never read Strangers in Paradise, the tales of Kachu and the rest of her friends are worth reading. This is just amazing for its out there adventures, its LGBTQ romance, its iconic cast of characters. The fact that it shows you can have everyday tales as an amazing piece of sequential artwork while still having completely out there over the top adventures that DC and Marvel would be sorely attempting to replicate if they could find a way to. So, Terry Moore, Strangers in Paradise, it has won countless awards. It is iconic, and it can be yours whether you've owned it before or have never checked it out in this initial omnibuy. Just $40 for the hardcover. Like, I'm used to seeing Marvel trade paperbacks that aren't as thick as this selling for $45, $50 these days. 23 issues, about that thick hardcover, $40, steal of a deal. What's that? Punisher's back again? Like Marvel zombie killing wasn't enough? Now he's got to take on Wade Wilson? Indeed. Benjamin Percy's notably darker Wade Wilson Deadpool has made the Merc with a Mouth slightly less comedic and a bit more of the mercenary you expect him to be. But when he has to go up against Frank Castle, it's going to get intense. And look, Frank wasn't happy enough to just cross over with Black Cat. This is going to be a back and forth of big guns between Wade Wilson Deadpool and the actual Punisher ongoing series. Another crossover because, look, Frank apparently just has to do it. I'm sure Jay can tell you, having seen the new Spider-Man film, that Punisher has some level of a role in the new film that releases this weekend.
Non-spoilery, but yes. But I will also have to say that right now, especially with Marvel, I'm very behind on Wade Wilson Deadpool. I did really enjoy the 2 issues that I read. But Punisher has been, not only the Red Band one, but the regular one going on right now. Punisher has been one of the best books, next to Cap, next to Iron Man. Just phenomenal. So having 2 of these 2 characters crossover, if anybody remembers the Frank Guns and Wade Funds Marvel meme from back in the day, I love when these 2 characters are put together. So I am totally down. I will buy this issue and then go buy the back issues, but I will buy this issue specifically because it's going to be Frank versus Wade. I love it.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I mean, look, if you didn't already read the Punisher Black Cat crossover, that was great. This is going to be, I mean, I just can't imagine, like Punisher handling a wet willy or some commentary about what color choice and clothing he wore. But Deadpool's going to give him a run, and considering the tone that Benjamin Percy has been bringing Wade Wilson Deadpool, it's going to be violent. This is going to be something. So those are some of the bigger books on PRH this week. We have a lot more awesome tales from Ignition Press that will be coming to when our friends from Ignition join us momentarily. But I want to do a quick scroll through and remind you all that there's plenty we didn't get to talk about at PRH. So, as always, load up prhcomics.com. See things like the great trade for Cyberpunk 2077. We have all sorts of awesome all-ages books, manga series like the brand new Even the Student Council has its holes. Unbelievable items and ongoing and continuing series, countless covers we didn't have the time to show. So take a chance, scroll through these things, and find awesome new reading material, beautiful new comics to add to your collection, and make sure you reach out to your local comic shop with what you're looking for. So, plenty of great things. Also, if you need supplies, the BCW Marvel graphic novel boxes, there's a new Avengers one, the Midnight, which I think is going to be a huge event if we're expecting this could be the new Ultimate Universe over at Marvel. And then, of course, the Black Costume Saga, which is going to have those iconic images from the 1980s, including the Todd McFarlane ASM 300 cover on the box. So lots of fun. Not to mention, really quickly, I got to point it out, long overdue Marvel Knights The World to Come issue 6. I believe the final issue in this Christopher Priest tale. So lots of fun there. Really quick, Jay, can you pop off my screen and bring me to full screen? So if you guys aren't already reaching out to your local comic shop every time you guys watch this, I want to point out, this is one of those things. It's great to have this information and go to your shop and pick these items up off the wall. But one of the key things we always want to stress with this show is the value of letting your local comic shop know. I can't express how many times we have been lucky enough to be ahead of the curve on some of these huge books. Things like Dork and White Sky, the iconically sexy male cheesecake covers like the Nightwing Pumpkin Spice, and the sweater weather, jacuzzi, Superman and Batman. We have called so many of these big hits in advance of them skyrocketing in price, selling out at stores. And the reality is, our goal isn't to make these books sell out. Our goal is to make it so you guaranteedly don't have to chase these books on the aftermarket. So reach out to your local comic shop prior to Final Order Cutoff. Let them know you want these things. Have faith in my top 10 or the things that you discovered that you know you want or you think could be the hot next thing. So that way you're not chasing these on eBay for a fortune. You're not walking into your local comic shop and finding out that they just sold the last copy before you get there. The big stress is reach out to your comic shop. The sooner, the better with these awesome things. Now, as we're still waiting on our guests, we'll bring back the screen and talk about Lunar Distribution until they arrive. I want to remind everyone, you go to lunardistribution.com, scroll down a hair to upcoming FOC, make sure you're on the right date, August 3rd, and you can see a lot of no covers yet uploaded for all of the Absolute Batman reprints. But let's point it out. There's a lot of Absolute Batman reprints. Absolute Batman #1 hits its 12th printing, and we're going to see almost every issue of Absolute Batman reprinted, even if you can't see the covers of what they are. So if you need to catch up on the iconic series that is blowing up the aftermarket, you're going to want to get over to Lunar. Hopefully later this weekend we'll get the covers, but ultimately new cover or reprinted cover with different coloring. If you don't have it, you know you need Absolute Batman. Get that order to your shop. All right. Absolute Wonder Woman will be continuing with issue number 23. And as you guys might have saw over at PRH, the Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 3 trade paperback and hardcover is hitting. And if you remember a few weeks back, we had the incredible David Dismalshin and Leah Kilpatrick on the show talking up accessories. And well, issue number 1 doesn't drop for another week. The second printing is on FOC with an awesome new black and white cover that you can order. So if you just want more variation, if you for any reason didn't get your orders in on the first printing and fear them selling out, now's your chance to get ahead of that. We also, of course, have that iconic Action Comics reprint. I know we just had another record sale of an Action Comics #1. It has just been getting more and more expensive, a multi-million-dollar comic to own if you have a first printing. So grab a facsimile so you can at least read the iconic piece if you haven't. One I am excited about, and I know it's not just me, it's my son. The Amazing Digital Circus has become a phenomenon. Animation that started on YouTube was fought over and picked up by Netflix. This has been a unbelievable explosion of fandom. It has had its toxic moments. It has had its fights. It has had everything from plushes to popcorn buckets, and it had a theatrical release for the final episode of its epic series. But now you can enjoy the Glitch Production masterpiece in manga form with artwork by Sakura. Volume 1 of the Viz series adapting the unbelievable animation is going to be up. And having watched Halloween costumes be iconically Digital Circus, seeing cosplay all over Comic-Con and Anime Expo, this is just something to pay attention to. It is going to be crazy. So, all right. I've held it off too long. We have been waiting for this intro. So I want to take a moment. We have the unbelievable creative director of Ignition Press, the host of the video podcast, Curious Haunts, the co-creator of The Beauty, the man behind Murder Podcasts, the artist of Boxed, The Realm, and more, Jeremy Haun.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
It's doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm really enjoying trying to decompress after San Diego. I'm getting there. I don't know about you. You were running yourself ragged too. We had a good time though.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had a great time at the off-site Ignition Press venture. That was iconically beautiful. You guys took over the entire San Diego Wine and Culinary Institute with just beautiful, large imagery of all the Ignition Press books. You guys filled it with amazing creators, and you didn't even require a badge for Comic-Con to attend.
That was one of the best things. It felt really, really good to set something up that anybody could attend. Literally, we had one of my favorite experiences was these two ladies came in and they said, "Hey, we're here for a concert. We don't know anything about comics. We thought we could get into Comic-Con across the street. We couldn't, because they didn't know that they couldn't just walk in. But they're like, we came over here," and they ended up hanging out and enjoying. We had coffee service in the morning. We had drink service at night. They ended up having a cocktail before their concert. I realized as they were leaving with like an armload of Ignition books, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to a concert with just like 10, 15 books, stacked up. And I felt like that was a huge win. And these were ladies that said, we've never really gotten into comics. And my response to that was, what stuff do you like? Because I think we've got something for you. And they walked out with Murder Podcast and Voyeur. They got Roots of Madness. They got so many of the books that we have. And I realized that this is the feeling that we're always seeking at conventions, and we got it.
Absolutely. I mean, for the retailers that watch, they iconically know this feeling because this is what they get to have every week. And for even many of the viewers that hang out in a comic shop, it's always that fun thing to recommend somebody else in the store or something. But I love that it's people and publishers like you and Ignition that really help find a comic for everyone, because you guys put out a comic for everyone, whether it's, a cute, canine-based romance and dog sitter to absolutely haunting imagery in things like Beauty and Murder Podcast, to even, the fun and goofy stuff. And it's all there at Ignition, and you guys do such a great job of making it easily accessible.
We just, at the heart, we just want to connect all of us, right? I mean, these stories matter, and these are stories that creators want to tell. And at Ignition, our goal is to just get those stories out to shops and to fans, and been a great experience.
Absolutely. But I mean, you have been haunting my mind with incredible comics since, I would say, at least the Top Cow days back in 2011, when Beauty first popped up in pilot season. Now you have Beauty ran for I want to say around 30 issues at Image. Mm-hmm. It relaunched at Ignition at the same time that you got a big FX TV series.
Right.
And we'll definitely talk about Beauty in a moment, but as excited as I have been for over 15 years of the Beauty, I am beyond excited to talk about this new book that you have on FOC this Monday, this haunting jaunt through the Ozarks. Can you tell us a little bit about the Folk of Dooney Hollow?
Yeah. For like you, I think a lot of people know me for my horror work, and horror is my genre. I bounce around and I do other things, science fiction, fantasy, various things like that, but horror is where my heart is. Cullen Bunn and I constantly are talking about that, so many of our references as guys that are relatively the same age and that read the same stuff and watched the same stuff and found that. We love telling those stories. The Folk of Dooney Hollow. Look, I grew up in the Ozarks. I'm in Southwest Missouri. I am literally about door to door, about an hour from Branson, which is like where Silver Dollar City is. It's like the hills and hollows. I grew up on my grandfather's hog and cattle farm, where like we would run through the forests, all throughout all the seasons. And this, like, a lot of people know about Appalachia, but like the Appalachians, like, they have a real haunted quality to them. So do the Ozarks. There is something old here, something that a feeling of something that's been here for forever, right? And I wanted to tell a story that captured a little bit of that. Folk of Dooney Hollow is a 5-issue miniseries that we're doing. It's a type 5. Like I've got a lot of stuff right now that's gone longer. And I love long form series, and I want to always try to give you all more long form work. But this story was really important to tell in 5 issues, and it's the story of a woman that sets out. She's doing her doctorate, and she's writing about a group of people that went missing in the Ozarks in 1847, and they were heading out west. They were a group of Irish immigrants, and they got as far as the hollows of the Ozarks and disappeared. Think Roanoke, right? Where it's a massive group of people went missing and were never seen again. And this is a large number. It's like over 100 people. And so she sets out to try to find some kind of account of what happened, some kind of proof, whether it's artifacts or graves or whatever it is. She sets out, and she's managed to figure out where this is, and she goes ahead of her fellow students that are going to join her there, and something happens, and she ends up finding more than she ever could have expected in those hollows.
Haunting concept. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, perhaps it's, growing up in cities most of my life, a back alley or, gangs don't really bother me much. But the idea of just empty forests and the unknown of what could be in there are just the creepiest of feels.
I agree. I mean, there are times where I remember specifically one time my brother and I, we didn't really hunt, but like we always had like, bows with us and stuff like that. You're running through the woods. And I remember we came into this clearing, and it was like it was down in a hollow, but there was a clearing in the trees, and there was this beam of light coming down. It was fairly dark. And we got close to it, and you always have like the cicadas and the chirping frogs and such. And we got close, and everything went silent. And I was like, oh, this, I was like, we need to go. And I'm sure it was an animal or something like that, but maybe it was something more. And so this is me examining that and trying to capture the haunting of the Ozarks in a story. And I mean, like we got amazing covers on this. We got some really cool variants. And mostly I want to talk about my creative partner on this story, Alex Lenz. For those of you that don't know Alex, I really liked his stuff. He did for Boom, but like he did a Plastic Man series a little bit ago. I guess,
and Briar was phenomenal.
Yes, Briar was so good. But that Plastic Man series, when we were talking about who to bring on for Folk of Dooney Hollow, there was so much emotion to the characters. What he brought to it was just fantastic, and he goes hard on horror. And Plastic Man, obviously it's a goofy, fun comic, but this was like a body horror kind of thing that they were doing. And I was like, I need to talk to him about this. And he lives in upstate New York, and interestingly enough, again, there's kind of a similarity between upstate New York and the Ozarks. And I was like, I can send you reference of the Ozarks. And he's like, please do, like, send me photos and video and all this stuff. And I sent him, I think he was a little bit buried under all of the reference about this place that I sent him. But he was like, oh no, he's like, it's very similar to here. Like we talked a lot about trees and about the way that like a tree can feel haunted. A tree can feel, I mean, now you hear about people like getting buried underneath a tree, and then the tree grows out of the body. I'm sure this just probably happened, naturally, I guess, or supernaturally. But yeah.
Interesting. All right. So we know about our protagonist and her hunt. Can you give us a hint of what things she might find out in her trails in the Ozarks?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that she is searching for, she finds in a very unexpected way. There are people out there that she stumbles across, and there's more to why the people are there and what is keeping them there and what is keeping them alive after all this time. It's a very classic, supernatural folk horror kind of story. And you can see this character that's on screen right now. That's the butcher. And he is a terrible, dark thing that wanders the woods. And he wants in. I really love this. My buddy Abriel drew this, and he really captured just the massive stature of the butcher here. And he drew this. You can see that there's like we have a lot of imagery of like paper wasps. I remember as a kid having to like go into the barn and like knock down wasp nests, and how terrified I was of them, but I was also fascinated by their segmented bodies and stuff like that. And so we play a lot with imagery of various things that we found around the Ozarks.
Oh, it is definitely haunting and not the thing you're going to want to run into in the woods. But no, I love that the cover variation we get. I mean, it gives you two different vibes of like, this haunting woods to just the, oh my God, that is going to scare me. I don't even want to consider running it into the woods. The cover alone is going to give me nightmares.
As a horror writer, I grew up scared of everything as a kid, and then obsessed over horror to the point where I think that, you become a little desensitized to it, or I now seek the things that are going to make me feel that way, that are going to terrify me. And this really had moments where I was really affected. There were moments that I scared myself writing this thing, thinking my way through it. I'm both a writer and an artist, so I have a very, very visual mind. So it's always playing like a film. Like I see these iconic moments in the story, and we definitely go some places with this, and I can't wait for people to see it.
That's awesome. So this is done in 5. Like it's
Yeah.
not, if it sells, it's in issue 6. There's a solid conclusion.
There is a solid look. Here's the reality. I mean, and I'll say this about any of I've been doing this long enough, and I love having kind of connected stories. Like there is, forgive me this. This is the worst sounding joke, but a buddy, like we you end up calling it stuff. We talk about like the Hauniverse, right? Like my collection of these cosmic horror stories that I tell. And the Red Mother has elements of this. It appeared again in Haunthology, my collection of short stories that I did during the pandemic. Yes. 40 Seconds that I did at Comixology. Murder Podcast definitely has it. And the Folk of Dooney Hollow connects to all this. There is a through line that you see through these stories. And I like stories with an ending, but an ending is never really an ending. I prefer to say with something like this, if there is desire for more, it's a place I want to revisit. I can, I don't ever, usually, I mean, never say never, but like I don't usually detonate the planet from space. So, like usually there's a way to get back into it. So, but for now it's 5, and part of that also is just me wanting to, like a fighter, you pick your jabs and then you figure out where to go in for the really heavy work. I feel like I've been telling a lot of longer form stories, and part of me loves discovering a 5-issue series, and like, especially you like get that graphic novel and you're like, oh, wait a minute, like how did I miss this? Or you get in early, and get to enjoy it. I like a 5-issue series whenever I can get it.
All right. Well, issue number 1 drops September 9th, starting this 5-issue series. And if you all go pick it up and scream out in the woods loud enough, Jeremy might scream back with a sequel, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely. And look, I'm going to say this to everybody. I love this kind of connection. I love fans letting their shops know that they love stuff. Please do. Sorry, forgive me. Ignition is about connection. It's about all of us working together to get the books in people's hands. And yeah, so if you're excited about this book, if you're excited about any book, go to your local shop, tell them that you love them, preferably not in the creepiest sort of way unless they're into that. And then tell them what books you're really after. It's a good thing.
All right. Well, another book I hope they're all really after. You are still continuing the epic tale of a, I guess, haunting and beautiful STD in the Beauty. Can you give everyone who might not have watched the TV series or taken the chance to read the comic the quick pitch on the Beauty?
The Beauty is about an STD that makes you beautiful in a world like we are in now that is obsessed with how we look. No matter how okay with yourself you are, still there's something you might change. Like oh, you want to lose a little bit of weight. Oh, you want to take care of this or that. You can in this world, and all you have to do is catch it. Like fat melts off. Your skin gets better than it ever has. Hair grows, and You have a glow. Yes, my friend. I wear hats. But but like, but by the time this series starts, 60% of the population has it, and then the first person dies of it, and then you realize that there is a 2-year ticking time bomb inside of you because you chose vanity, because you chose this thing. Now you're going to die. And as you said earlier, we did 30 issues over Image. And kind of, similar to what we were talking about with, with other stories, it's like we hit a spot where like, hey, this is the very clear ending to this series. This is a great spot. 30 issues is a long run anymore for anything. It really is. And we're like, okay, let's stop. And no joking, the second that we said, we're done, Harley and I, we're like, oh yeah, let's go hang out and instead of writing together, we're gonna go watch a movie or whatever. And we were both like, I kind of miss doing that. Like we gotta figure out something. And we did other stuff. We did we did the approach over at Boom in that interim, and sort of some other stuff that we've been building, but we miss this world. We miss the stories of these people. I mean, and it's an amazing device. You can tell any kind of story if you've got, if you're examining why people go to the lengths they do to look a certain way.
Absolutely. Now, the initial story followed the intriguing detective and his interactions with those infected with the beauty. But this new series you guys have relaunched at Ignition Press, and we're 7 issues in.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what happens in this that makes it different from what we've read at Image or in the new collections at Ignition or in the FX series?
We wanted to, a lot of the structure of from the show to the comic, they're kind of different animals. I love the idea that you can start with kind of the same general concept, and there is a lot of the comic in the show, but you can choose a slightly different path. Ryan wanted to go big body horror, people exploding. You explode in the comic, but it's in a slightly different way. I always feel like if you like the show, come read the comics. If you like the comics, you're probably going to like the show. It's going to be different, but check them both out. The thing that makes this different from the original series is that we play a lot in that 2-year time period, right? Like, from the time that the first person, in theory, got the beauty until that person dies, we have that span. We've mostly told stories in the later part of the gestation of the beauty. This new series takes place very early on. This is like the first 4 to 6 months that the beauty's around. So nobody really, people are finding out, what is this thing? One of the things that we really wanted to focus on with this series was if you could attain physical perfection by getting the disease, what would that do to sports, right? Like suddenly one of the best athletes out there is getting trounced by somebody that couldn't begin to keep up with them before. And then what do you do? Like when you're the star quarterback that's like, I need to get that edge, right? Well, you can get this thing, and it's in theory completely untraceable as a, they're not looking, they're looking for steroids. They're not looking for the beauty. And so that's being manipulated in the beginning of the series. We do have a crime element. There's this one we have a espionage operative that falls into a crazy situation, and some different agents like Foster and Vaughn in the original series are detectives, police. These are federal agents that are looking into a series of murders that's going on. And if you love the bad guy from the original series, Mr. Calavera is the sugar skull mask wearing monster from the original series. He is back in this. He is also a version of him is played by Anthony Ramos in the TV series. You know, they because it's a TV series, and Anthony Ramos is an incredibly handsome man. They didn't want to cover his face with a full sugar skull mask, so he has like a kind of cool eye patch that he has on in the show, but same character. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. One of the things that we really tried to do with the series was you could pick up any arc and read it on its own. Like there was an intentionality. Like technically the first arc of the original series, the first 6 issues are kind of the end of the story in a lot of ways. And then we go back and we give you context. We introduce you to these people and why this does this thing. And it builds and builds and builds and runs through it. This new series has some moments where some of the large scale, like people behind the people, this family, these sisters, the Abernathy, we realize that they have a brother, and you know, kind of how that a pharmaceutical family, you know, these big money pharmaceutical people split, and how that goes. We've got issue 10. I'm really excited about. Do you know if issue 10's been solicited yet?
Issue 10 is solicited. Issue 8, which we have on screen, actually just FOC'd last week. It'll be coming out end of August. Issue 10 will be an October release.
Okay, perfect. So but I don't want to get yelled. We don't want to get yelled at by Bree and Dan on this. So I've got to do this the right way. But so it has been solicited though, right? Because if it has,
now you're going to make me double check. So just give me 1 second to confirm. But yes, the incredible director of sales, Daniel Crary, and the wonderful marketing goddess that is Bree never need to be on our wrong side. So
no, you don't want. Here's the thing. Dan's fun. Dan is wonderful. He's a hell of a salesman. He's doing such a good job for us. But Bree, you don't really want to be on her bad side. She will do murders. So I want to do this.
I want so badly to have this come out of you, but right now, Beauty number 10 is not yet listed on PRH Comics.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. I am going to say this. We do standalone issues. We do typically 4 issues, and then we do a standalone. Kind of a break in the story, sort of, to tell interesting stuff. Since I can't say who is drawing it, I'm going to say this. I am so excited about issue 10. It's another standalone issue. This creator is one of my favorite artists. He doesn't get enough love, and I'm so excited that we got to work with him. So to all of you out there that are Beauty fans, we got something special coming your way. I can't wait to tell everybody about it. I totally teased everybody, and I do apologize for doing so, but you're going to love this. Issue 8, we should get on FOC, and you know, if you're liking the series so far, issue 8 specifically gets really, really crazy. I'm having a blast on the covers, as you can see. These are just high fashion craziness. But I do want to also talk about Emma Lupacchino. Emma is we've had a very throughout the entire series. The first guy that drew the first arc, he was a bit of a hack. I drew the first arc. I'm just joking, but we've had great artists all throughout this series. We've been incredibly lucky to have. I mean, we had Stephen Green. We had goodness. Now my brain is completely shutting down. We had Brett Weldley. We've had so many people. It's great, but Emma is fantastic, and if you like well drawn, pretty people, you're gonna check that out.
Yeah, she has been absolutely amazing on every issue. And I mean, you're doing so many other incredible things with Ignition, everything from Murder Podcast. I know we had somebody in the comments talking about how much they love that. It is one of my wife's favorite comics, and I would kill to discuss that. I would love to talk about Boxed, which, at my time as an Eisner judge, I couldn't rant about that more to my fellow judges, saying that this deserves an award. But
Thanks.
The graphic novel I got to talk about because it's releasing in just a few short days. Releasing in stores on August 4th. You worked with Stan the Man Lee on Airwalker.
I never really expected that I would have, my name in the same, thing as Stan. And this has been one of the most amazing, surreal situations. After Stan passed, we were his estate reached out and they said, "Hey, we've got some ideas that we are really excited about. These are special things." And look, not everybody has it's every time. And I came into this and I'm like, well, let me see. Let's see what this is. And Airwalker just stood out as something special. It has all of the heart of Spider-Man and a lot of those original Marvel concepts, but it's us getting to tell a whole new story, and I love it. It's an original graphic novel, again, talking about done in one. This is the whole thing, and we got to go big. My partner in crime on this, Danny Luckert, who I worked with on the Red Mother, he joined us for an issue of the Beauty. Danny is just the best there is. Colin Bunn and I constantly are fighting over who gets to work with him next.
Very humble gentleman too.
Yeah. Yes. Danny's just a sweetheart. He got to come out with us to San Diego, and it was so great getting to hang out with him and just celebrate this wonderful accomplishment.
Yeah. No, absolutely exciting. Danny's artwork is beautiful. I mean, I've always been impressed with your writing. I was always shocked. I thought this might have been something that was from the boom era of Stan Lee interacting. So this is something that you discovered of his posthumously?
Yeah. We his estate reached out to us, the people handling his stuff, and they were just like, "Hey, this is special. We really think there is something here," and they were right. I had such a blast with it. But yeah, it was whole cloth. It was I got a document that had all of Stan's, like the breakdown of what the story was and the direction he was really hoping to go with it. And then we just took it and made it something that was a hell of a lot of fun.
Awesome. So with the release coming up this week, it is probably already in stores waiting to go on to stands, but you can still reach out to your local comic shop and see if they can set a copy aside or do an advance reorder for you. Jeremy, you want to give us the quick pitch on who Bo Chang is and the story of Airwalker?
Bo Chang is a young man in 90s New York, living in Chinatown with his family, and he's just he lost his father. He's just trying to take care of his mother and his grandmother and the family bookstore. And you know, doing the best he can in a world that doesn't always, you know, care what good people need. He takes to fighting to make extra money, and then learns of and gets an ability to literally walk on air, and has to figure out how he wants to use that. You know, is he going to do good things? Is he going to be self-serving? Is he going to find some place in between? It is a superhero origin story. It is very much about family and finding your place in things. But it's also just like a fun action story. You know, we have a blast. You know, I really wanted to do an homage to those Stan Lee stories that I read whenever I was a kid. I thought a lot about Spider-Man and sort of just the way that he told such human stories while going big with action and fun.
Absolutely. All right. Airwalker releases in bookstores on August 4th, but let's be honest, you want to go to your local comic shop, get this incredible direct market exclusive cover that we have on screen that Danny did. That will be available this Wednesday, along with all the other incredible comics. Jeremy, before we let you go and dive back into what Lunar is offering through distribution, do you want to tell people where they can find more of what you're working on and what's going on with your podcast and social media?
Yeah. You know, look, social media is great. You can find me either under just my name, Jeremy Haun, or on like on Instagram and Twitter, it's Jer Haun. I'm on Instagram a lot. That's probably the thing that I am on most, but for the most subtle, nuanced, ridiculous, direct connection to me, the best thing you can do is hop on jeremyhaun.com and sign up for my newsletter. I do a newsletter. I try to do it every 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes it's a little longer, but you know, I'm doing pretty well. But I talk about shows that I'm going to be attending. I talk about new books that I've got coming out. I talk about any news on any of the projects that that I've got coming up. You know, the second that we have more beauty news, I'm going to be posting about that on there. It's it's a great place to just get kind of directly tapped into me, and it's kind of goofy and weird. I put a lot of photos of drinks that I'm having and crazy places that I'm visiting, so it's good. But yeah, I love the interaction with fans. I appreciate everybody being so supportive of what I've done. You've been so supportive of everything that I've done. It really means the world to me.
Always a pleasure. I mean, it doesn't get better than incredible books like the Beauty Murder podcast. And now I cannot wait for the Folk of Dooney Hollow. So remember, guys, reach out to your local comic shop. Get your orders in. The sooner the better. Go pick up a copy of Airwalker. Get those orders in for Beauty 8, 9, and 10, because we heard it here. There's going to be a special guest artist on it. And then, of course, the Folk of Dooney Hollow drops September 9th. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully it won't be the last time.
No, let's do this again soon. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. All right, folks, we still have a lot to cover over at Lunar Distribution and only 20 minutes to get through that and the top 10. But I have faith. I think we can do this. So, Jay, do you want to bring us back over to Lunar Distribution?
Well, I tell you what, I would love to do that, but let's take a break because we have a sponsored break. So let's take that break and we'll be right back.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
All right, you got to love an ad that actually includes Final Order Cutoff. I wonder if magically we could have like the writer of Summoner's War on a future FOC episode prior to that August 17th release. Wouldn't that be great? All right, let's hop back on to Lunar Distribution to talk about all the books that are on FOC this Monday, August 3rd. Next up, it's Betty and Veronica, the fashion pages, just in time for Paris Fashion Week. Things I never thought I'd say in comics. This is going to be a collection of 85 years of incredible fashion from two of the most iconic ladies of Riverdale, if not the world of comics. They have wonderful variations, paper doll covers, foil variants, and more to add to it. Meanwhile, Bad Rock #2 getting some more great homages up for FOC. And hey, look, more DC books without covers. Yes, you'd think that new printings, DC could get the covers up there. I'm going to get yelled at so bad by someone at DC after this. But they don't. Nevertheless, Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez's unbelievable Batman run that has been selling out hand over fist comes back with new printings of issues 1 through 8, getting us caught up with brand new covers and new printings. Pity we can't see those covers. But if you're missing, this is well worth hopping in on because we're coming on the big event with Mayor Poison Ivy setting the way with some Bad Seeds. Yes, Batman Bad Seeds Sunset is a new one-shot that ties into the Bad Seeds event across the Gotham characters and leading its way through Batman. All sorts of beautiful covers available for this. And one of the things I actually really love, a blank cover that is not entirely blank. I like when they get a little bit of framing or things like that that really just kind of add to it. You don't get it a huge amount, but it's something nice just to keep in mind. All right. Then if you're looking for something fun, a teenage drama twist of the Birds of Prey, it's Birds of Prey, The Origins, an original graphic novel featuring Harley, Babs, and more. We have a lot of great continuing series, including a second printing of Kristen Kruick's Black Star, which just dropped this past week, and issue #2 available. Rom V is bringing the paranormal to the government with this interesting new series, Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy, talking about the oft whispered part of the military intelligence community that works purely with the paranormal, mysticism, and magics. It's not Whitehall. It's not. Man, I am screwing up my my British military intelligence locations, but nevertheless, Black Tower tells the tale of a group of people who have long been forgotten, as modern military intelligence does not look towards mysticism to solve problems. However, in a world of hacking and AI, suddenly the mystical resources of Britannia could be the thing that puts a stop to an epic new war. Ron V teams up with Mike Perkins for this awesome new series. And I'm excited. I like the idea of mixing paranormal mysticism and magic and things like war and espionage stories. So, new 6-issue miniseries from Vertigo. We have a lot of great continuing series, some stunning covers, some amazingly naughty things that I'm going to quickly move off of, but you can always check out lunardistribution.com if you want to see. Penultimate issue of Corpse Night, more tales in the world of Hyboria with Conan. And we're finally seeing more Viz manga. Yes, you saw it there. Dan to Dan is now orderable at your local comic shop. Even if they didn't have a Simon & Schuster account, you can now get that through Lunar. And we're going to see a lot of popular manga coming up through Lunar Distribution, giving you new access to it. Now, as far as new series go, one that I really want to talk about is the story of Denver. Denver was originally a crowd-funded comic by Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray, a duo who are known for their incredible artwork as well as brilliant writing. And it tells a dystopian future where the oceans have risen so much that one of the few standing societies human can still live on is the high mountains of Denver. However, as people try and reach this fabled utopia where life still exists, it is far from a utopian situation. This is a dark, it is a sexy, it is a mature book with stunning artwork by Pierre Brito. And, of course, that iconic cover from Amanda Connor. So, as Mad Cave saw great success with Pop Kill, expect more awesome Jimmy Palmiotti originals to start showing up at Mad Cave. And this new 3-issue piece could be another big hit. Some absolutely stunning covers right there. Whew, so many great continuing series. And if you didn't get to go to Comic-Con, but you want some original sketch covers or signed books, Dynamic Forces definitely offers it up to you with some pre-drawn sketch covers. Books signed by major creators like John Romita Sr. and Scotty Young. They're a little pricey. Definitely click through to see those very big price tags. But it means even your comic shop, no matter where it is in America, has the opportunity to give you that convention experience with original art and autographs. Do a Powerbomb continuing on with its awesome black and white editions. I know number 1 was a huge seller, so I am excited to see how it continues on with issues 2 and 3. We have Doctor Strange, The Endless Nightmare, a new graphic novel by Kevin J. Anderson. I want to say this is part of the Abrams Marvel book line. A lot of great continuing and new approaches for manga, like Dr. Stone, once again. Eye Collector, one of the most unique books on stands. This stands out unlike any other sequential art currently coming out. Issue number 3 on FOC with a bevy of great covers. Final Boss, which is getting a lot of attention from a potential announcement that could be coming from Tyler Kirkham, has some great covers available. We have so much coming up, but one of my all-time favorites is Wally West Flash. I'm sure Jay is also a Wally West fan. I'm making this presumption. We'll find out momentarily when he chimes in.
Yes, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Michael Rosenbaum voicing them. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. So Wally West in Metropolis. I mean, I'm hoping this means there's a Superman crossover. Super Field Trip starts in Flash 36, so should be a little bit of fun there. Ghost Pepper continue on with a new story arc and incredible covers it is so iconically known for. G.I. Joe gets another Larry Hama Files reprint with issue 109. And Rick Remender brings us something hauntingly new with Hammer Fist. As we get a paranormal dystopian apocalypse, the least likely of heroes, a man who always went for the easiest out, whether it was drugs, cheap sex, easy money through illicit acts. Mike Denton is not a hero. He is not your friend. And yet, he might be the one thing that stops the end of the world. It is Reservoir Dogs meets Evil Dead in a filthy, crazy, paranormal crime story that only Rick Remender can bring you, with stunning artwork by Steve Epting and Matt Hollingsworth. Yes, that Steve Epting cover is what the interiors will look like. This is going to be something else. I mean, I'm always ready to buckle in for a crazy Rick Remender ride. And here we go. A lot of great covers available on that. Some high ratios too, so watch out. We have so much you're going to want to check Lunar Distribution for to make sure that you get to see everything and you get the proper orders in, even iconic things like pins. There's a new Junji Ito graphic novel that you can stock up in your comic shop, and a very fancy edition of the Eisner-nominated Lightfall, The Girl and the Guardian, with sprayed edges. Like, look, this was an amazing book as is, but, you know, sprayed edges, gold foil, hardcover edition of deluxe form. I might have to upgrade my copy. Then, in things I wouldn't expect, Liquid Death, the coloring book. Look, I love this water. It was great until they started charging me an arm and a leg for it. If I really need something bubbly and liquid, I'll just stick to a Perrier. But Liquid Death has become a lifestyle for many. And if you want to add to that lifestyle, yes, you can take those ultra metal pieces of artwork by Will Carsola and color them up in a Liquid Death coloring book. Odd things you can FOC these days in your comic shop, definitely. More advent calendars in the way of Lord of the Rings, and reprints galore with Mark Spears Monsters. If you haven't read Mark Spears Monsters, this is a fun take on those classic monsters, many of them the Universal-esque, from The Creature of the Black Lagoon, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, our iconic werewolf, and more. But with these homages, you are going to see fans get fanatical trying to track them down. There's a number of great covers, but the one that likely is going to be the highest in demand is that Nick Dragotta homage, stylized like his infamous Absolute Batman #1. Mark Spears finally taken his swing at that infamous cover everyone's doing. So expect that to be a hot one. Definitely let your comic shop know in advance if you want a copy. Again, it does not get more iconic in manga reprints than Naruto, and these 3-in-1 volumes are a great way, if you haven't read Naruto, to catch up, because they're going to allow you to do it in a third of the time at half the cost, and you can dive in and get up to volume or Tankobon 6 of Naruto in these 2 volumes now available. Expect Lunar to continue stocking backstock on Viz to make it easier for you all to access at your local comic shop. Then, as DC continues its next level, part of the All-In's follow-up era, Gary Dugan brings us a one-shot with Deadshot. Yes, this Deadshot one-shot by Gary Dugan and Fernando Blanco is also going to lay the tracks for all the other next-level spin-offs, things that you guys have been enjoying or are excited about, whether it's Deathstroke or the Fury of Firestorm to the upcoming Demon and more. It's going to start right here in this standalone next-level one-shot by Gary Dugan. Great covers there. Otter Squad hitting some iconic homages there. You got to love a little bit of a odd boys reference on that cover. Poison Ivy prepping for Bad Seeds with another Bad Seed tie-in with the mayor of Gotham City that is Pamela Isley. We have so much and so little time, so I am just rushing through this. A lot of manga, a lot of great trade paperbacks. The Kingdom of Zod storyline continues on in Superman. Supernatural comes to its big epic conclusion with issue number 10. But if you've been paying attention to the news from Dynamite, it will spin off into 2 series following the Winchester brothers individually after that. Terminal gets a second printing if you missed out on number 1, and issue number 2 is out. I know Jay is definitely huge on the new Robert Kirkman series, featuring writing with Joe Casey and artwork from the good Kubert, along with future artwork by David Finch and Art Adams.
One of my favorite books that came out. One of my favorites.
Absolutely. It is amazing. Very, very 90s, like superhero in modern styling. As I said, Junji Ito has a bunch you can access, including the complete collection of Tomy as a deluxe edition hardcover. They're surprisingly more affordable from Viz, as well as the complete 3-in-1 Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and more. Vampirella continuing on with 1.5 million covers. Void Rivals continuing to strike. Unbelievable artwork by Connor Hughes. I love that man. We get some pins. And then the last big one of the week I got to talk about is Witchblade Vampirella. Yes, the newly relaunched Witchblade, which I guess is not that new as we are now in its second year. Marguerite Bennett and Laura Braga team us up in an iconic team up that last happened over 20 years ago. Dynamite and Image bringing together Witchblade and Vampirella again. Image is first going to be doing Witchblade Vampirella, a one-shot, and then it'll continue in a few months over at Dynamite with Vampirella Witchblade. It's all fun. 2 sexy femme fatales, some unbelievable covers, and while it's a done in one, we'll get more later on. I am beyond excited with these releases and the items on FOC from Lunar this Monday. So make sure you check out lunardistribution.com and get your order to your local comic shop well before Monday, August 3rd. But I think it's time we need to cut away quickly to our top 10. What are the big things you should be ordering and have on your pull this week? Now, the first, I have to give the honorable mention of Amazing Digital Circus. It's not often that a YouTube cartoon series can get a multi-million-dollar deal with one of the biggest streaming services out there, let alone then have its big finale, a single episode, as a theatrical film release. That's huge. And the kids out there who love Amazing Digital Circus, the adults too, because I can admit myself as one of them, know why. So you're not going to want to miss out on ordering or stocking this manga adaptation by Sakura of Amazing Digital Circus. However, let's dive into the top 10. A Little Golden Book made it to the top 10? Yes, it did. Paul Dini, creator of Harley Quinn, and Amy Meberson, 2 iconic comic fans and creators working together in an untraditional release of A Little Golden Book. This is going to be a must-have for Harley Quinn fans. At spot number 9, my 3 greatest Marvel kings, the King of Latveria, the King of Wakanda, and the Atlantean King, Namor, Black Panther, and Dr. Doom. Black Panther, Namor team up to fight Doom in hell. It's awesome. Spot 8, we get a 25th anniversary return to the Marvel Mangaverse with Web of Blood, and I have to give it to Yuji Kaku for this unbelievable cover featuring our 3 protagonists of the story. In 7, it's Hellraiser Resurrection, the onanistic ritual. That's a hard one to say. Now, this is already going to be a hot piece with an incredible creative team. Throw in the fact that Andrew Curry is doing a cover. If you're not familiar with Andrew Curry, his covers have been blowing up the convention scene. He has had some of the hottest releases at San Diego Comic-Con for the past several years with this beautiful, beautiful style. He just worked with with Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan on a Horror of Godzilla San Diego Comic-Con variant. Now you don't have to worry about this super expensive, hard to get Andrew Curry variant at San Diego Comic-Con. You can have it at your local comic shop by pre-ordering this Hellraiser cover. Whew. Black Tower, The Raven Conspiracy. Like I said, paranormal espionage already has my attention. You throw in a Stepan Sage, as he was correcting us on his name, cover. It is amazing. And again, as he stated in his interview with us a few weeks ago, if you say his name right, you might just get a paranormal Croatian demon to appear at your doorstep. Spot number 5, as we get to our last few, The Forever Home by Christian Ward. Beautiful cover by Franny, giving a somewhat less haunting and almost Miyazaki-esque vibe to what will be a dark tale. Number 4, Dan Panosian. Oh, just one of the best cover artists in the industry right now, hands down. He is utterly under-recognized and underappreciated, but he does some of the hands-down best covers this industry has ever seen. Dan Panosian doing the stunning cover on Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray's Denver. That's the cover to get. Spot 3, The Six of Us. Let's see if Gabriel Hernandez Walta and Tom King can knock it out of the park even bigger than they did with The Visions. Then we got to hear Jeremy talk about this. I am tempted to travel to the Ozarks to check out the beauty and hauntingness of everything he described, but I think I'll just settle with the safer paranormal twist and trip of this comic book, The Folk of Dooney Hollow. It looks awesome. Jeremy got me creeped out just telling me about this. I cannot wait to read it in September. So Jeremy's cover obviously wins spot number 2 in The Folk of Dooney Hollow. Leaving the question, what could be number 1? It's Hammer Fist by Rick Remender. And once again, Dan Panosian popping in the top 10 a second time this week. Let's face it, he ends up in the top 10 almost every week because of his iconic covers. But with this effed up sounding series, I am excited. So many great releases that are going to be FOCing this Monday, August 3rd. So I hope you all reach out to your local comic shop ASAP with a very lengthy list of awesome books. I know Jay is, because Jay is going to be yelling at me momentarily. Why are you making me buy all this stuff? But that'll be after he tells you about what else is happening this weekend on the EXP.
Absolutely. This man could sell water to a fish. So later tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, we have the very last, pretty sure, because it's the end of July, Christmas in July with Nick on the Original Art Show. There's going to be some pieces, folks, that are for $25. Art pieces for $25 for December 25th. Plus all the other weird pricing Nick concocts in his head. He explains how he prices stuff. I still don't get it, but Nick does, so that's all that matters. Then at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, come check out Nancy McCann and the folks from Comics Unlimited for Friday Night Live.
I love it. I cannot wait. All right, you heard that, $25 pieces of original art. So that gives you a lot of money you can save while buying artwork to cover this FOC list. As always, reach out to your local comic shop. Let them know what it is you're looking for. We will be back next week with more incredible comics on FOC and another amazing guest with a book on FOC, as we never miss it and we don't intend to. Make sure you keep getting your orders into your local comic shop, and thank you for watching.